Welcome to the 200th episode of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg. My co-host, Warren Sklar, is here. How you doing, Warren?
Mouth is full. Hungry. I'm doing good. Last day of bachelorhood for a bit. The wife is somewhere between me and you in the skies, like I was saying. Looking forward to the weekend, which is supposed to be warm here in the east. Yeah, you send it over, and then it gets cold again, then it gets warm again. Like all the flowers that Jeff sends me pictures of are dying here because people are trying to garden. Like, it's annoying. They'll garden, they're like and then it's snowing, and then they don't have a garden anymore, and then they have to build a garden again. So it's that kind of weather.
Jeff Gamet's back. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing all right. Clearly, I'm failing at introductions because I didn't have food in my mouth. I do have a bottle with something to drink in it. So let's just say I have a liter of Spirit Hound gin. It's actually water, but let's say it's Spirit Hound gin to help celebrate. And Warren, your weather, it got up to 80 Fahrenheit here today. Mm-hmm. And I don't have my window air conditioners in yet, so I'm pretty sure it's still 90 Fahrenheit in my place right now.
But isn't it like Boulder? You're near Boulder, right? We're closer.
I'm like right in the middle of Boulder. So yeah, I'm near it.
I don't know. I don't picture hot when I picture that town.
You should. It can get hot here.
It gets. But
all of the seasons all in one day.
We get that everywhere too. But go ahead. We'll talk about that voice on the weather podcast.
Our wonderful guest. Glad to be back. Glad you're back here. Is Kelly Guimont. How you doing, Kelly?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me on episode 200. Here's to 200 more. I'll give you a nice product shot there.
Yep.
Right.
You were on 100, and now you're on 200. So
I got the non-alcoholic beer. And,
we are celebrating 200 episodes. It's been quite a ride, and we're having a lot of fun, and we'll continue to have fun here. And I started going back in the archives a little bit, and just to kind of reminisce, see what was talked about. So we'll kind of touch upon that a little bit and see where things have evolved with Apple. I won't go too much about the history. We did that. If you want to hear that again, you can hear that in episode 100, because I did a lot of that stuff. So, but I do have a good special announcements coming up too as well in a few minutes here about a new way to donate to the show, and we'll also have a lot of news to talk about here. So why don't we just jump right into the news here this week? First story here. This was about the HomePod. The old HomePod, that one that got discontinued. It's appreciating in value following its discontinuation. The original HomePod, which Apple discontinued in March of 2021, now appears to be appreciating in value on the online marketplace sites. This was The Verge actually showed this. Is on Mac Rumors on going through this. And when it debuted, it was $349, reduced to $299 a year later. And then, of course, lackluster sales. Apple discontinued it. But since then, the prices are going really high here, like $347, and some people are paying even more than that for these because they are, hard to do. But Jeff, what do you think of this? I mean, you're the big HomePod guy. I'm not surprised that they're still popular, but as long as Apple continues to support them, I think we'll be okay.
This is frustrating because
that's why led with you first.
Watching the prices go up on these. All right, here's the deal. I bought a single OG HomePod when they came out, and after it got discontinued, my first thought was, well, thank God I only bought one. And then my second thought was, well, actually, it would be nice to have a stereo pair. So now that they're not going to be available anymore and the price starts dropping, I'll be able to pick one up for pretty cheap on Craigslist before too long. And I have been watching the prices continually go up, and I keep thinking, well, I guess I'm never going to have a stereo pair of the OG HomePods. I do see the delicious irony in the the price of these is going up now that they're not available, considering how many people complained about them when they when they came out and complained about the price. And now here we are where it's not available anymore, and people are saying, well, actually, I really kind of wanted it, so I guess I'll pay $500 for one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kelly, what do you think? Do you have a full HomePod? I think you have minis.
I do not have a HomePod Max. I only have a HomePod Mini. But part of the reason I didn't is because it was meant to be like your nice big actual speaker that happened to have a voice assistant in it. We've talked about that before. And I've solved that problem in most places. The Mini is different in two major ways. First of all, it's not quite as much speaker and therefore not quite as much money. So it serves a different purpose for a lot of people. Like I never anticipated a HomePod Mini being the primary audio output for the giant television, for example. And that was like one of the ways they were marketing was like, you don't need a sound bar. You can just get a couple of these. And I'm like, really? So at my house, like the original pitch for that didn't really fly. The Mini, we have like a collection of them around my house now. And the interesting thing to me about them is, first of all, like I said, they are very different products, but also, and I'll probably need one of you to correct me on this. It's Thread or Matter.
It does have Thread support. Yes, the Mini has Thread support.
The Mini has it. The OG does not.
Correct.
So I don't think you can use the OG, or at least at some point it's not going to work as well as your resident device for HomeKit shenanigans. But because I'm not entirely sure if you can even do that with a Mini. I know you can do it with an iPad or an Apple TV, but I don't remember.
Oh yeah,
both HomePods do home. Okay.
Yeah. But it's going to be a lot. It will end up being a lot less useful once for the OG HomePod, if it doesn't have Thread and Matter support, because that's where a lot of things are moving to. So I just think it's like Jeff was saying, it's sort of entertaining that people went, well, $350 is too expensive, I'm never going to buy one. And now that they're like $550, people are like, okay. So
I think it's more for collectors. I don't think anybody's buying them because they want it as a speaker. I think maybe it's appreciating because it's not being made anymore. Because people like to do stupid things like that on eBay, mostly.
They're screwing me because I actually would like to have one for a stereo pair.
Because people is a pretty compelling argument for a great many things.
Well, yes. Jeff, let me get into my story, and this might interest you then. So I have two. I have a black and white one, and they're behind me, or they were both behind me, and I never listened to them. We have a beach house. I have a bunch of HomeKit stuff there that only seems to work if I have a HomeKit device there. So I only have one Apple TV and one iPad, and I'm not leaving them at the beach. Although I thought about putting the Apple TV there because now the Apple TV app is kind of everywhere, but I didn't. So I'm like, all right, I got an idea. So I got a home, when you're in the house, it's great because HomeKit works when you're in the house on the same Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. But you need you need a HomePod, like Kelly said. You either need a HomePod, a iPad, or a Apple TV to act as a hub, which lets you connect remotely from somewhere else to control your home and see your home. So, so I'm like, all right. So I took one over to the house last weekend, one of the HomePods, which kind of made me cry a little bit because I'm like, I never listened to them, but stereo. But I never listened to them. But there's two of them, but I never listened to them. There's a TV right there. If I put my Apple TV, but I'm never down here to do that. So I'm like, fine. So I split them up, brought one to the beach, set up I was replacing my August lock because of reasons over there, but whatever. Put the HomePod in, things look great. I come home and I can't see it. So I don't know, it's a pain in the ass. Now I got to figure out why that's not working. Anyways, the moral of the story is if this doesn't work and I end up just getting like a Mini over there or a Apple TV over there or whatever, I don't listen to them. So we'll see what we could do. We could talk.
Okay, we can talk.
We can talk.
But stereo. But I don't listen to him. But Jeff wants one.
But
He'll
Jeff
pay you
wants
for
one.
him. What would I do with that money? But stereo.
You're gonna buy another
Go buy
Apple Watch
another
so you can
HomePod.
put a beta on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of beta, when I just disappeared 3 minutes ago,
Mm-hmm.
my M1 decided just to turn off and on me.
What did I
First-
just say?
There you go.
So
Let's-
that's the first time beta. Well, you know what? Could be beta, maybe not. Maybe it would
All
happen to you
right.
too.
We'll hold that to our beta discussion here.
Sure.
Next story here. Apple releases a new firmware for the MagSafe battery pack. Apple appears to have released updated firmware for that MagSafe battery pack that is compatible with the iPhone 12 and iPhone 13, and those both, of course, support the MagSafe accessories. It looks like it was going over the air as of this week. So version is 2.7.b.0. You'll be able to see if it's done. But they usually quietly update these battery packs. I don't personally have one of these, but I guess that you find that they are relatively popular. But it had been updated previous in December of 2021. So
They're not selling well. I think 5 people have the things because
yeah, I mean, I say
Wait till they discontinue them, Warren. They're going to go up in value.
they're gonna go up in value.
So
I'll
make
buy
sure
them.
you
I'll buy
buy
them.
2 now for a charging pair.
a charging pair, a black
Yeah,
one, and a
charging
white
pair.
one too. Yeah, just like these. Actually, I could buy a black one and a white one and just stick them on my HomePod and see what happens.
So
Yeah, no, I mean, in the Mac to the Future group, we talked about it, and nobody sees the value of that. The one that was attached to the
Yeah.
case in previous versions,
Mhm.
I almost saw the value more than this because
Really?
well, yeah, there's effort in keeping that battery pack somewhere. So
Yeah.
you're gonna go somewhere and not gonna have it. You're gonna walk out and not have it. The one that's stuck on the case, you have to live with it. So I mean, that's why MagSafe. I found MagSafe is fun. Switching out MagSafe things on my phone too much is not fun. So it's
Right.
Sure.
you know what I mean. So I mean. I actually have it's upstairs, but I have a knockoff one, MagSafe one. It's a charger, and I stick it in my bag. I'm sure it works just because it was half the price on Amazon or whatever it was, but it was fine. But again, you said it too, Dave. The 13 batteries.
Oh, I was just going to say that it's absolutely phenomenal.
Yes,
I mean, I'd be lucky I got down to 60% on my 13 Pro Max, and at night
my wife got the
I'm
13. My wife got the 13. I told you she went from 11 to 13. She's like,
she's got to be so happy with it.
she's like, she said it a few times. The thing I noticed about this phone, that the biggest thing I noticed is the battery, and I never have to charge it.
Well, so maybe it's just this is going to end up being a just me sort of situation, but at least on this panel anyway. I
You're
generally
the only woman.
Well, I'm the only lots of things, sweetie. I'm the only one here. I'm the only one here who carries a purse, and so I always have a battery in my purse
Oh, I don't know about
for whatever.
that.
Well,
Jeff has one.
Jeff has a bag. I don't know if it goes everywhere. Mine does.
It goes most places, and
okay.
I'm okay if you want to call it a purse. It doesn't bother me.
So I didn't know if it went everywhere. I know it goes lots of places. So
And we have cargo pants.
I always have, and they hold an actual phone, which is a separate podcast. Since I always have a battery, I've switched to a MagSafe battery, and I have this one from Anchor that I really like. And the reason that I like it is because it's way cheaper than the $99 one that Apple just released the firmware update for. But also, it's got this the back pops open, and then it turns into a I'm gonna.
Oh, that's clever.
So it turns into a kickstand, and it will hold my phone. I haven't tried it on a Pro Max, but on a 12 Pro, it holds it fine, and you can tap on it and all kinds of stuff, and it'll just sit really solidly. So I prefer this, and I always have one in my bag. So it's nice to have one as a in case, because that having something like that at the bottom of my bag is how I maintain the title of Swiss Army wife. So I always make sure I have something handy, and that one is one that I really like. So MagSafe has been much nicer because I don't have to carry around an extra cable with this to charge. I don't have to carry a bunch of cables to charge it up again. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go through a bunch of extra gyrations if I just want to make sure I've got enough in there if something happens and my phone is low. So I really appreciate having the opportunity to have something really small like this that isn't a whole nother case that I have to put on like the smart battery case was. And I don't have to hassle with a bunch of cables. If I want to use it, I just slap it on the back of my phone, like near the back of my phone. It works. And then I move on with my life. So I really like the MagSafe for that.
Where it becomes more of a problem is if you drive and you have a MagSafe mount in your car, then you come home and your nightstand has a MagSafe thing that would the watch and so it's the idea is nice that you have a nice place to click something onto the back to do things to it, but the idea, like my MagSafe, I do have the MagSafe and I have pop socket wallet, right?
Which weren't showing,
which I'm showing, and it's I love it. It holds one card, but now when I come into my car, I have to pull this off. I put my phone up. I'm like, now what am I going to do with this? I actually put up another MagSafe, another magnet charger stand thing in my car just for this, so I kind of like that. But yeah, I mean, it's good and it does a lot of things, but again, it's a lot of popping off and popping on is not as cool as having a battery case, even though the battery case looked like it was pregnant and giving birth to a battery.
I had plenty of Mophis over the years, so
I've had this. I started with the Mophie cases, and then I stopped them because the port kept coming out in the bottom, right? The USB came loose, and then when the battery pack came out, we got that with the phone, and then I should show you a picture. My son mangled one up so badly. I've never seen it like anything like that. But basically, it's ugly and bumpy and whatever.
All right, let's go ahead and move on here.
Can we talk more about this battery pack?
We're talking about a short story here. Next story here. Apple may have already inked a deal for the NFL Sunday Ticket. Back in July, rumors had suggested that Apple was pursuing streaming rights for the National Football League's Sunday Ticket package. And as this week, there's a report suggesting that the deal's already been done. Of course, that's a rumor. It's something that they described it's Apple's to lose, but they're saying it could be very possible. It's a good deal here. It's going to be costing them a lot of money here, $2.5 billion per season. It's been on DirecTV forever, and that contract's expired. So this could be another piece of the puzzle for Apple with sports. If they do that and they continue to keep that price, boy, this is I know many of you here are not big sports fans, but this is big. I mean, if this happens, I mean, go along with the Friday Night Baseball that they already signed on with Major League Baseball. I mean, wow. I mean, this is going to be something that's really going to make Apple TV Plus very attractive to most people who do like sports.
NFL is the big one, right? Like of all of them, like that's the one. I mean, there's way more games in Major League Baseball, and some things have kind of already gone there, and like as far as being able to see more of those things online. But football is the one that like feels like the nut that everyone's trying to crack when it comes to sports. Charlotte Henry and I over on The Edition talked about this on her show. And part of the reason we were talking about it was because it sort of felt like if Apple could really nail baseball with the Friday Night Baseball stuff that they announced earlier this year, then maybe, it's going to be the kind of thing that, look how great we can do with baseball because of all the additional ecosystem benefits that come from having Apple broadcast that game. Like there's the 24/7 channel, I think it is on Apple TV Plus, where you can get all you can eat baseball. It's like, BNN, all baseball all the time. Right. And then there's like, you can follow your favorite baseball teams in the news app, and you can, you can add all these other things that are sort of bonus frills to that sort of package, and it's still only $5 a month for baseball. So if you don't like baseball, it's $5 a month. If you think the sun rises and sets on the New York Mets, then it's $5 a month. And if they can do the same sort of thing with football, it feels like the engagement would be huge. The eyeballs and the bandwidth and the pieces of people's lives, that go into that stuff would be huge. And it really seems like it would be a good fit. And I was reading an article just before Charlotte and I recorded that episode. I was reading an article about how, like, of the 100 most watched television events of the previous year, 75 of them were football games. So some college, some pro, but football, and it was not close. So I feel like hopefully this is what I personally don't watch a lot of football. So it's not going to matter to me one way or another. I'm just sort of interested in how this is going to affect other streaming services, TV rights. Apple does seem like a company that would be able to maybe kick the door in on some of these blackout restrictions and some of the nonsense that goes into broadcast sport. And maybe there's an opportunity to help fix some of that and make it a little more palatable for everybody, because some people are paying no money instead of paying a little bit of money and would be very happy to pay a little bit of money, or even more than a little, if it meant that they would get to watch every Seattle Seahawks game or whatever. And in most places, an exorbitant amount of money cannot get you every one of those games. So I'm hopeful that maybe Apple will be the company that can make something like that happen for folks who do want to watch. Yeah.
So let's get anything else. We'll go ahead and move on. Go ahead.
No. Okay. Just real fast. I just want
because I know you're a big Giants fan. So
yeah. Well, that's why I'm surprised you didn't ask me what was going on with this. But
go ahead.
Anyways, I'm a Giants fan that's in Pennsylvania, and now we have problems getting the away games, and that's been for a while since we moved out of state. So my experience so far has been DirecTV. When we first got here, my neighbor had the dish and the NFL package, and he gave me his log on one year. That was cool to log on to the DirecTV version. So then that stopped happening, and then last year, my son went to college, and actually, before that, real fast, I used to live in England. I lived in London for a couple of years, and DirecTV or the NFL ticket lets you buy a Game Pass, and the Game Pass over there lets you see all the games. And you can only do that out of country. If you come to the United States, it says you can't do it anymore. If you go to different countries, it says you can. So that was cool too. Then when I came back here, we survived for a year or two, and then my son was going to college, and I saw a commercial that said you can now get DirecTV without the dish for you could get the Sunday ticket without the dish if your kid goes to college, only for a college student. And I got that. But he was away in Ireland the first semester, and he called me up and said, "Doesn't work." I'm like, crap. So what I did is I paid for the NFL Sunday ticket that you could get overseas while I was out there, but didn't cancel the DirecTV, and so I used it. I used his account, and now we could go use it going forward. The whole point of the story is it's an S show, trying to get what Kelly was saying, trying to get football in in a way, whether there's
and that's trying to do it legitimately. That's somebody who says, I would pay an exorbitant sum to watch every game and cannot.
Right. And then people end up going to shitty websites trying to do it. It's a mess. We've all been there trying to do it and trying to get the game to watch offline or not here. But, the problem's going to be if Apple's not going to be able, if I'm in New Jersey, a Giants fan, and I get Giants for free on the TV over the antenna, and all of a sudden I have to pay Apple some money to get the Giants that I could get on the antenna, there's going to be rioting at Giant Stadium and at Cupertino. That's not going to happen. So you can't do that. But if they could come up with a package similar to DirecTV or even better, I would love Apple to do something like you were saying. If you want to watch every Giants game, you don't have to pay the $300 or whatever, $400. We'll chop them up. You could see, maybe you could have an NFC pass or whatever it is. But hell, I would pay per game if I could. Almost like
Like a la carte.
A la carte, but there used to be a way. I'm trying to think the channel on cable where you could used to watch the sporting events and things like that. Pay per view. That's it. So like, but like something like that. But anyways, I think I'm excited too. Anyways, I would love this to happen, and Apple seems they have the money, Jeff. They could spend it. They won't go broke.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and move on off this story here. Next story here, Apple Maps. They added cycling directions, which is now available in Chicago, Detroit, and more U.S. cities. Apple has added cycling directions for several parts of the Midwest, include Chicago, Detroit, Indianapolis, Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, and Charleston. According to Apple Maps enthusiast, the updated coverage reportedly includes all of Ohio and West Virginia, as well as parts of Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Virginia. Since the beginning of April, Apple's been quietly adding cycling directions for all parts of the Northeast, which suggests that they're going to be expanding it even further, which this is great. That Apple does maintain also a list of areas where cycling directions are available on its website, but they've never really included it in Apple Maps. I'm starting to see a lot of expansion with Apple Maps and adding more and more of this kind of stuff. Jeff, what do you think?
So I'm really excited about the NFL. Wait a second. No.
That's why I didn't even bother you with that.
He just loves the costumes.
Yes,
their costumes are so much fun. So I actually am excited about the cycling directions thing. I live in an area where bicycling is a big thing, and adding this into the maps is just, to me, like a no-brainer. If you live in an area where you don't have to drive a car all the time, then give me as much data as you can about all my alternatives. Unfortunately, this is not available in Boulder yet, and
no Colorado yet.
But when it is, you can rest assured that I will be out biking around, testing it out to see how accurate it is. And what I'm hoping is that it will have a level of interactivity. For example, in Boulder, a lot of our bike trails are also part of the flood mitigation system. So it would be nice to know when I bring up a cycling map if one of the routes that I'm planning on taking has an area that's temporarily blocked off because, say, like spring runoff is super high, and so there's part of the trail system that's now underwater because it's actually redirecting the water so we don't have a flood.
There you go. What do you think, Kelly?
Well, I think if Jeff could manage to find his way here, all of Oregon is listed as cycling instructions, as well as specifically Portland. So there's only like 2 mountain ranges between us, so I don't think it's going to be that big a deal.
But let me reinflate my tires. Make sure they're good to go.
So I'm optimistic about it because one of the things that I really like about any level of directions in Apple Maps is how it works on the Apple Watch. And so it's even easier if you are walking and you don't need to pull out your phone, or if you're what I like to do if I need them, instead of just look at maps, figure out which road is the one with the wreck on it, and then close maps and go drive the other way. If I'm actually using the directions, I don't have to look quite so much at another screen or anything, because I can feel my watch tap me on the arm and tell me. And it does that with walking directions, and it can also do that with the cycling directions. And so it'll be even nicer, I think, to do it that way. So I'm looking forward to it, especially for, and this is not me, but especially for people who have a cellular Apple Watch, because then you don't have to have your phone with you at all. And then you just, here's where I'm going, and you head out and get all of that. So I'm glad to see the maps is continuing to evolve, and I'm glad to see that they're continuing to roll things out. And the footnote I would have to this is that the link to the list that Apple maintains is like a massive web page of all the services that Apple offers and where they are at. So if you're looking for where can I use Apple Pay Transit, or you want to know where the look around stuff on Apple Maps is, or handwriting recognition, like you can look on that page somewhere and it will show you. And it's just a very handy thing to have in your bookmarks
Absolutely.
somewhere if you need it.
All right. Did you have anything to add, Warren, before we move on?
Much like Apple Fitness Plus, I'm very excited for the people who exercise.
All right.
Which is not me.
Moving on. The AirPods that were looted by Russians giving away their location via Find My. A Ukrainian man has been tracking the movements of retreating Russian forces using a pair of AirPods stolen from his home near Kyiv. They told the Times of London that Apple Bluetooth headphones were swiped by Russian forces from his home. Soon thereafter, they were stolen. They were able to. They realized they could be tracking the movements with the Find My app. I find this to be rather interesting. And they even posted images on the Find My app and on Instagram to show where they were when they were doing this. I had some trouble laughing about this. What do you think, Kelly? This is definitely interesting.
I'm really entertained by it because I sort of love the judo flip of weaponizing somebody committing a crime against me.
Yeah.
So he definitely came out ahead when you from a certain point of view. It definitely seems like he's much better off. He's much better off because like he can just see them wherever. And so I very much I also liked the person who commented and said like, could you hook a dude up with a new pair of AirPods?
Yeah, I need a pair. Now mine are gone.
Well, like somebody else commented on it was like, hey, Apple, you should send him a pair since he's out a pair, and so I just really I did appreciate that piece of it. The fact that somebody would do something like that and that it was sucky and, like all of that, like goes without saying, but I do very much appreciate that, they actually, he sort of found a way to make it work for him. So, I just sort of enjoy that.
Absolutely. Jeff, any thoughts on that?
Yes. Karma is a bitch.
It is. It is. Anything from you, Warren, about this?
Nah. It's funny and sad, but
it is sad. Obviously, what's going on in Ukraine right now. So
yeah, I mean, it's again, if technology stops us, we're all all for that too. So whatever.
Yeah. And the last story I had here, this was about the Brave and DuckDuckGo browsers. They did some updates, and they are working on pushing privacy when it comes to Google AMP. As we know what Google AMP is, AMP technology is the way that gives you, which I cannot stand, that it gives extensions to Google to let you, for you surfing, to find a particular website that you're surfing for.
Dave, I'm going to interrupt you and correct you because
please.
What AMP really is Google's system to scrape all of your content and make it theirs so that they're getting the traffic and not you. Boo, Google.
Yeah.
Okay, now please continue.
Yeah, no, it's always hard to explain that to people what AMP really is. But the article says here, two major web developers on Wednesday announced updates designed to affect the functionality of Google's AMP, which stands for Accelerated Mobile Page Technology. The Brave browser and DuckDuckGo browser and extensions will give users the option to finally be able to disable AMP. And then, like you said, Jeff, why should you even care about AMP? But you may not realize this, but when you're on an iPhone or an iPad and you do a Google search, tap on the search result and open the web page. The web page may be an AMP version, not the original websites.
If you do it from Windows, is it Winamp?
Warren, do you want to have to go and wait in the car?
It does kick the llama's ass. I just have to tell you that.
Yeah. So. Bottom line here is this is great. Privacy is starting to expand. It looks like even DuckDuckGo is actually doing a lot more expansion. I mean, they just put the web browser for Mac in beta. I just got that. So they're really pushing some privacy. But I think if anything this could help is AMP could go away. I wish it would. What do you think, Kelly?
Yes, that. which is why I was hissing earlier when you said we had to talk about AMP. I don't like it, and I don't like what it does to a web page. Like if I'm looking at a web page, I want it to look like I'm on the edition. I'm on intouchwithios.com. I'm on, whatever the page is that I'm looking at, and not like what Google has decided that page should look like. Because I've been on the internet a really long time, and whatever awful design decision somebody wanted to make, like, respect it. It's not up to Google what that person's design decisions were, so it should be fine. I'm glad to see it, and I'm glad to see more of this. Privacy is a really good idea, and maybe we should get on that. And maybe not everybody needs to know everything about everybody by default. If you want to hand that information over, it should be your decision to make, not Google's decision, not Chrome's decision, not Facebook's decision. It should be yours. Right. So you should be asked if that's the thing you want to do. And maybe for some people it is, and maybe for some people it isn't, but you should at least have the option presented to you. So anything that makes that happen. I've been using DuckDuckGo for ages, and part of the reason that I really like it is I've not noticed, well, gee willikers, I've gone through 3 pages of search results and can't find anything relevant to what I'm looking for. Has never, ever, ever, ever happened to me. Yeah. So I get really good search results. The page loads unbelievably quickly. I don't have to worry about creepy stuff happening elsewhere on my computer or on my phone if I click on an ad on DuckDuckGo. And all of it's better. And so they also don't show me any AMP links. And so I also like that about it too. So better. Yeah, all around, I'm just glad to see more security and more sort of common levels of security. Most people, even if they're not using it, most people know what 2-factor is. Most people know use unique passwords and all that kind of stuff, and all the things we used to talk about over on Security Friday. Though having those things become more and more common pieces of conversation and not sound like a paranoid person screeching on a street corner is a much better conversation because it benefits everybody.
And like I said, the good thing about both Brave and DuckDuckGo is it's going to give you the option to be able to de-amp. That's what they're calling it. That it'll allow you to not have that ever come up. Now, we did talk about this app. This article mentioned this as well as Amplosion. I think, Jeff, you might recommend this app, and I think I purchased it. It was $2.99, and it's a good example. If you want to continue to use Safari on your iPhone or iPad, that app will allow to redirect AMP pages right back to the original site. So there are ways around it.
But I am glad that Brave and DuckDuckGo are doing this. I am not comfortable with Google being the arbiter of all internet content, but that's what Google wants to be. Right. And AMP is part of that. Their push to replace cookies with their own tracking system is part of that as well. Chrome, and by extension, all Chromium-based browsers are part of that. And it's just important that we have systems that try and keep Google in check. Otherwise, Google does become the arbiter of all content on the internet, and that is not an internet that I want to be on.
Yeah, so pretend real fast I'm a normal computer user, not like us here.
That'd be a big pretend.
That would be a big pretend, and I don't care. I don't know what AMP is, and I care about trackers and things like that.
They wouldn't even know.
I drove by, I tried DuckDuckGo a while ago, and I haven't used it in a while. But the search results, when I tried it, was worse than Bing, and that's saying something right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gotten, and this was a while ago, so this could be like Apple Maps, where it was, in the beginning, Apple Maps wanted you to drive off cliffs, but now it's okay. So we could do that now. We had a scary time where we had to use Google Maps if we wanted to know where we wanted to go instead of Apple Maps. But anyways, there's a sign in Philadelphia now, a big sign that says, they're promoting it. DuckDuckGo is being promoted everywhere. These signs and things. Yeah, so they're trying to get the word out. So I guess my question is, for those who used it, is it better? Search?
Better. I think so. Like I said, I've never had a problem finding results, and and it loads super fast. And if I go look at shopping results, nothing creepy happens anywhere else.
Right.
You know, I don't
Because
start
even
getting
Bing-
Facebook ads for the thing I searched for or
Because
whatever.
even now Bing still sucks. I mean, I've tried things other than Google to find something and failed. Well, you know, it's bad. You know, the Bing is still bad, and DuckDuckGo was bad. So hopefully, hopefully I'll try it again. So you're saying to try it, Kelly? You're saying give it a shot?
Yeah.
I agree as well.
Yeah.
I use it for some reason. I mean, it's my default browser, my default search engine. I use it for everything, but a lot of times what I'm looking for is reasonably specific.
Do they have a browser now? They were talking about it, weren't they?
Yes. They have a browser. They have an app on iOS, and then there's a Mac version, which I'm actually looking at right now. But it's an invitation only. You have to sign up for
it's an actual browser. It's
a browser.
It's like the anti-Tor browser. Well, I don't know. It's sort of like a Tor browser. I don't know.
It's like a Tor browser, but not slow.
It's a Tor browser, not slow, and it's for people who care about privacy, not people who want to get into the deep dark internets from the Tor browser, the onions, the layers of the onions. Where
dark web.
I did a search for dark web once, and I didn't know what was going on, so I stopped. I got scared.
Probably good.
Has anybody been there? I mean, seen it? I couldn't even tell you what it is. The dark web.
So Warren, think of the dark web like Fight Club. The first rule is you don't talk about dark web.
Right, but somebody has to.
Which is why you have to whisper dark web.
Well, somebody has to talk about it, because some people. I mean, you'll see the posts on, like people on to making fun of other people, like, how do I get on the dark web, and how do I Google how to get on the dark web, and it is like the Fight Club, but we're pretty smart with computers, and I still haven't figured it out. So I mean, I don't know. It's
that's
like
a whole other topic.
It's an interesting topic, and it's computer related. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. We got a lot more on the agenda here.
Oh, crap.
But
I only got 10 more minutes. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, you do? Okay.
Okay, good.
So let's go ahead and move on to the topics. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, this is the 200th episode of In Touch with iOS. Very exciting times here. We I can't believe we started this 6 years ago, and things have just spun. We've had so much fun. A lot of great things have happened, but I wanted to kind of just spend just a few minutes here, just to kind of look back a little bit, and the next 100 episodes. What did we see over those times, and what has changed? We've obviously gone through a lot of iOS and iPadOS releases, and iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches, and the Apple One bundle was one of the notable announcements. Kelly, not to put you on the spot, what do you think stood out for the last couple of years here that really stood out to you? What Apple has done up to today?
Well, I would say if I'm getting a couple of years, then I would say M1, because we're seeing the rapid evolution of that. And this is the first time that Apple's not beholden to anybody else, because every time they made their own processors prior to this, it was a partnership. So it was with Motorola. It was, sort of like ostensibly with Intel to have Intel processors in Apple hardware. And so anytime, the 68K processor, the PowerPC processor, the Intel processor, those were all reliant on other people. And this is 100% in-house. And I think that's part of where the innovation came from of, what if we built a processor that was system on a chip, but we built it with this little like Lego end so that we could hook two of them together and turn that into a computer. Like, I think that's what comes from being able to execute on something like that, when you control it all the way down to the like assembly interpreter level. So that piece of it, I think, comes from Apple being 100% in-house, and a notable piece of that, which I think is also interesting, is that they told us about something that's coming. So when we got the Mac Studio, that's its name now. Ask your parents. When we got the Mac,
I can hear the drum kit now.
Yeah,
I thought you could
Studio.
just say the word. when we got that machine and they were talking about, system on a chip and, we made it this Lego thing, then they said, that means that there's only one machine left that has not made the M1 transition. It's the Mac Pro. And that's a different presentation, back to you, and left. And so there was this casual little grenade of like, the Apple Silicon Mac Pro is a coming. I think it'll be June, and I'm very excited about that. But I think watching how this rolled out, watching how we've gotten iterations, and like even just the iterations in M1, like I cannot imagine what something is going to have to be able to do in order to be considered M2 classification, right? Because we've seen what the M1 can do and what happens if you take two of them and stick them together. And I'm really excited to see where this goes now that Apple is the only limiter on the innovation, on the design, on the iteration of all of it. So that has been probably the most notable thing to me, because Apple has sort of done their own chips before, but this is the first time it's been only Apple at the wheel. And so I'm very, very, very curious to see how this continues to evolve over time.
Yeah. Jeff, you have any thoughts?
Okay. So first, as you were first starting to talk about all of this, my cat decided to knock my keyboard off of my desk because that's where she wanted to sit.
I wonder what got typed in the notes there.
Oh, yeah, that would be my cat that added additional content to the notes.
Nice.
So I need the context of what I'm answering. I completely missed it.
Most notable Apple stuff in the last little while.
Yeah, last little while since the next 100 episodes. Yeah.
Okay, that's actually easy and probably not what you're going to expect me to say. And that is Apple's original streaming content.
Okay.
Apple has stepped up their game. Well, okay, Apple stepped up their game when they decided that they wanted to be in the space. And they did that by hiring the right people and giving them free reign to go and do their thing.
And
that
blank
in and of
checks.
itself, yeah. It's like, here's a checkbook and we've signed them all. Just go do stuff and let us know how it goes.
Go apply these around town and get back to us.
That's not Apple's way, but that's what they did. The result was they gave us this streaming platform that is cranking out some really good quality stuff. And they've made sure that they have the tools in place so that it's easy for all of us to see that content regardless of what device we're on.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. To me, that's a huge thing, and it's the thing I think a lot of people are overlooking.
Yeah.
No, that's great. And then finally, Warren, what one noble thing that you could say you and I have talked about across all these shows?
Well, first I have to thank Jeff for having you repeat what we were talking about before, because the only thing I've been thinking about was what I've been doing for the last 6 years, I guess, because I'm just trying to figure.
You were only part, not all those 6 years, but
well, yeah, like a
small portion.
So was 5, 4? I don't know, whatever. But it's time flies. I mean, obviously the M1 Max are the biggest of the last couple of years, I think,
and M1 and the iPad too.
Yeah, maybe, but the M1 Mac came out first, right? And that was the thing, and once that was a shocker, right? When it came out, and it was awesome, right? So the press was great, it was fast and things like that. The fact that they got it to that point was good. The fact that they started shoving it into other devices does, fine, whatever. That's not as cool or impressive, but because that's what obviously if the reviews were terrible and people hated it, they wouldn't have done it. But they knew what they were doing, so they had a plan, and they said these, the transition was probably being planned for at least 10 years, right? You would think, if not more.
An hour and a half after the Intel deal ink dried, they went, we're not doing this anymore.
Guy was saying it for years too, right? He was saying like they were going to do this a long time before they didn't, and he changed his mind. But it made sense. Of course, his Guy's vision was kind of my vision too. Was it was going to be more of since they had the iPhone running on Apple Silicon, they were going to do more of a merging of the iOSs, like a merge of the Mac and the mobile device, rather than a whole separate class of desktop and laptop, which is what Guy was. Guy always brings out his. What's the new one he has now? The Dex. He's fascinated with these devices where you could take this little device and use it as a phone, and then plop it on your desk and use it as a desktop. That's what I was pushing to at one point, and it still might happen. Apple might come back, continue to merge two together, where you could have something the size of a phone that transforms into whatever you want. Think Apple glasses, right? That's the concept. The concept is you can have the Apple glasses and your phone, and I won't need a Mac anymore. I won't need a big screen because the screen. If you think about what's better, why do people gravitate towards a bigger screen or a desktop? It's a screen. It's always a screen. So, if we had an iPad the size of this monitor, if they perfect that, it would be great. And if you had it in front of you, in front of your eyes on the glasses, even better.
Yeah. All right. Just to wrap up the 200th celebration, I wanted to make an announcement. I actually have started a Patreon campaign. We're going to start that as of today.
Nice.
So you go to patreon.com/intouchwithiOS, and we got, I've started with 2 tiers. I have the purple tier and the red tier, and we're gonna anybody who's is interested, we'd love to have you support and become a Patreon. And if you do the purple tier, it's $5. If you do the red tier, it's $10. $10, you will get a premium email. I'm working on throughout some of this stuff, but you get a premium email address that will be sent to you, and you'll get to ask questions directly to me and all the other panel members that come on the show. So if you could support the show, it'd be great. We're still doing Buy Me a Coffee as well, but patreon.com/intouchwithiOS, and check it out. We'd appreciate it. Let's go ahead and move on here and talk about beta, because Warren is always in beta, and beta 15.5 beta 2 has come out this week. Anything new on that horizon, Warren?
Like here, you said Warren's always in beta, like not my devices, but me.
Well, you are too. But.
Like me personally are in beta.
No.
Warren's always
your
in beta.
Devices.
Well, no, as I said, my Mac just decided to reboot, so that could be a new feature of the Mac beta. I didn't see it in the release notes, but you never know. I could read it again. And my phone, when was this? Yesterday they came, I think.
Yeah.
Was it yesterday?
It was Tuesday, I think. I think it was Tuesday.
Yeah.
Record.
Yeah. When who's the shortcut queen?
Brittany?
Is she the shortcut? Yeah, she.
Oh, or Rosemary Orchard.
Yeah, I don't know, but Brittany is who I'm thinking about.
Brittany too.
It killed my shortcuts. So for some reason, the shortcuts, when I had to turn to say don't prompt me when you run it, because you could automate it, those came back and I can't turn it off. So now every time I try to use a shortcut, my phone says, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, crap, this is probably the worst beta of my life. But other than that, all's the same. No problem.
Okay. You guys have any other thoughts on beta before we move on here?
I'm glad Warren is the guinea pig for most of that.
Yeah,
it's running fine on my iPad Pro.
I appreciate that Warren throws himself on that hand grenade for the rest of us.
Yeah. I was gonna do it.
Take one for the team.
Yeah, I sent a bug report saying my Mac rebooted, and Tim got right back to me.
I bet,
and said, "Yeah, thanks for reporting this."
So you have iOS 15.5 beta 2, iPadOS 15.5 beta 2, Watch OS 8.6. No change. No idea if anything's happened. Same thing with tvOS. So I mentioned those as well. And let's go ahead and move on. I found this as an interesting story here about. We talked about this on Mac Voices Live too, but I thought it would still be good for this audience as well. That could Apple possibly release a combined HomePod with Apple TV and FaceTime camera? We take that. We're going to kind of chat a little bit about that possibilities. Mark Gurman, who's very authentic when having a lot of rumor information from Bloomberg, says that he still seems to think that Apple is still working on a combined device, as I mentioned. Jeff, what do you think about this? We talked about this, but I like to hear your opinion again here. We've got Alexa. Whoops, sorry. We got the Amazon Echo, and we have the HomePod, and we have the Google device. Why not Apple get into this arena too, having a small little screen?
Since we talked about it on Mac Voices Live, I've been thinking about it more. Yeah. For Apple to make this device, they need to bring something to market with it that is different and better. And if it's just a FaceTime appliance, then that's not enough to differentiate this product. Yeah. What I think would be a better product would be like an Apple TV accessory that gives you FaceTime on your television. So you can sit on the couch and have big screen family discussions if that's your thing. And then, well, I suppose you could also connect it to a Mac, like set it on top of the display for whatever Mac you have.
Sure.
To me, that just seems like a better way to go.
Add a camera to the Apple TV.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it would be like a camera accessory for Apple TV.
Yeah, you could do that. There was another article I put in here that another idea possibly could this be a tiny studio display, just like the Apple Studio display? I think that's a little far-fetched, honestly.
I disagree with Gurman, and in what will come as a surprise to approximately no one. Yeah. I think he's half right. I think Apple's working on something, and I think they're working on sorry to get technical, a majigger what you can hook up to the TV. But I don't think it's going to have anything to do with cameras. I think if they can manage to take that little bit of Apple TV and a little bit of those itty bitty speakers that sound really good, not OG HomePod / HomePod Max good, not you went and bought an actual AV system that uses a receiver and whatnot, good, but much better than most people can get for that same amount of money. And maybe it's a sound bar. Maybe it's like a longer unit that can sit on top of a DVD player that is your Apple TV and your speakers, something like that. That's like more of a cabinety unit that includes the sound. I don't think the camera is the magic here. I think it's Apple leveraging the set-top box and that you hook to a TV and the speakers that people like to hook to the TV, and putting all of that in one thing, and then having that one device be the thing that you hook to the TV. Because you can AirPlay and SharePlay and all of that, and like you need a secondary device to do, SharePlay, to do, the FaceTime and stuff, so that you can have the chat while you're both watching the screen over here. So I don't think it would make sense to do it the other way. So I don't think the camera necessarily enters into that. I think it's going to definitely be more of a, we're going to combine the HomePod and the Apple TV, not FaceTime and the Apple TV.
I have an idea.
Yeah, go for it.
I have no doubt.
Have you ever wanted to take an iPad and mount it on like the wall next to the kitchen as a home control, kind of screen kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is going to be that device.
The iPad kiosk.
I mean,
that's basically what it would be.
I've thought about doing it so many times where you just have the home app open, right? All the time. So it's basically you got your home app and you could push it. I mean, it's made for it, right?
Yeah.
That's what it would be. And they sell these buttons they sell buttons now for HomeKit too, where you could get like screens and things like that, where you could kind of put them up permanently somewhere. Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, that's that'd be cool. I would do that, and if they don't do that, I might now hang an iPad up somewhere because I think that's pretty neat.
Kelly, I came up with the brand name for the product you described. So,
Yes.
the HomePod soundbar with an Apple TV built in. I'm calling it the Apple Theater.
Ooh.
Kelly's Apple Theater, because Kelly came up with the idea.
Yes, Kelly's Apple Theater.
And the thing about it is, like, I feel like this is going to be another way for Apple to do something with the Apple TV that is not the stick, because I still want an Apple TV stick that you just put in the HDMI port on the back, like a Fire TV stick or Hulu stick. I want that, but from Apple, and they don't make one, and it makes me very unhappy. Because I would rather have those instead of the streaming sticks I have already. So
Here's the problem, guys. When we all have the Apple glasses in 2 years, what are we going to do with all this crap that we're not going to look at anymore?
Warren, honey, we all have parents.
Oh, we're not going to look. I mean, I'm not going to look at my parents.
This is going to be cutting edge. An Apple TV is going to be cutting edge for my parents.
Yeah.
But for us, we're going to be wearing these things that basically have iOS in front of us, right?
Then I don't need an Apple TV anymore. And so my mom,
I don't need anything. And you don't need a TV. I mean, if they work like the way
Okay.
they work.
We went 4K earlier this year, and I'm here to tell you I'm not getting rid of that TV. I don't
Kelly,
care what Apple puts in my eyeballs. I'm not
Kelly,
getting rid of that TV.
If Apple comes out with something that looks like this, and you put it on, and basically you have Star
Pass.
Trek. Think Star Trek. If you put this on and you have Star Trek,
He held up some glasses, by the way.
Yeah,
I am the last person who will get them, and I'll tell you why.
we're all gonna have our futuristic glasses and like no TV,
And
Kelly's
also
gonna
Kelly.
be like hugging her for this. I'm never getting rid of this TV, and we're
Okay,
like,
I can't hug the
who said
TV.
that?
It's like 75 inches wide, and I can't get my arms around it in any direction.
Kelly, why are
Here's
you
the
watching
thing.
that stupid thing?
Because I paid a ridiculous amount of money for a laser upgrade to these eyeballs, so I didn't have to wear glasses anymore, and I'm not going back.
Can we have a short discussion real fast? Sorry, I wanted to bring this up.
About a laser upgrade for my eyeballs?
Yes, because I
We're getting
had
tight on time here, so keep it
really
short.
fast. I had LASIK too a long time ago. I don't know.
Mine wasn't LASIK.
Okay.
I had laser PRK because I have weird eyeballs for some reason, and so they did one or the other and said LASIK's not for you, and I said okay.
Okay. Well, I got LASIK, so I'm not. When it first came out, and people were wondering if you're going to go blind, and so I'm good. It was a long time ago. I don't know if I told you guys, but they were coming out with the drops. Remember, I said the drops for the
Yeah, you're doing
eyes?
eyeball juice drops.
I did it. I'm on. It's been days 5 or 6, and I don't wear these, and it's not bad. And the doctor gave me 2 free bottles of it. It's $80 a month. So if you need reading glasses, I mean, but still, I mean, so with the so I had the laser vision. I had the laser LASIK because I couldn't see far away. Now I could see far away, and now I have the drops so I can see close. I don't know what's coming next. Like if I can't see in the middle of the two, I'm gonna have to do something. They'll have to do another surgery or something.
They'll give you glasses for that.
God. It's like, damn it. But yeah, no. I mean, if you guys want to try it, it didn't burn my eyeballs out. Yeah.
All right. One last topic I wanted to hit on real quick here is a lot of press this week about Netflix losing lots of subscribers. It was it's getting into a point I was getting tired of hearing about it, honestly. They said it lost 200,000 subscribers, and the losses continued to go down. Their stock prices dropped like something like 35%. And they said they were expecting to add 2.5 million of subscribers in the first quarter, but it didn't hit that target. So then of course they've been testing an extra payment system, and then also they blame the fact that people share their family's password with everybody, so they're losing money that way. And I think it's kind of crazy what they're thinking as far as where it goes with streaming services. And we talked about Apple TV Plus earlier, but I mean, let's face it, Netflix's model it needs to evolve, and it really hasn't, in my opinion.
They kept ratcheting up the price and didn't give anybody anything new to go with it that everyone was talking about. I mean, we still don't have a new season of Stranger Things. There's not, for obvious reasons, there's not any more House of Cards. There's not a Netflix show or other piece of content. Like, all I've heard about Netflix shows is either they got everyone I know loves this show, watched this show, told everyone they knew that they loved this show, and it got canceled.
Right.
Or there's just nothing, or, they ratcheted the price up another $2, and I can't justify it anymore because I just realized I wasn't watching it. Right. I wasn't watching $20 worth a month worth of Netflix, or, whatever the number is now. Yeah, I wasn't getting the value out of it, and realized I wasn't getting the value out of it when the line item continued to expand on my credit card statement. So I ditched it. I mean, it has very little to do with sharing passwords, because if they would just make it like, it's $5 for a person, it's $7 for a household, it's $15 for 5 people, whoever they are, and everyone gets their own login, the end. Like, if they could make it cheaper for people for more than one person to use the same account, then first of all, we know that's no engineering marvel. It's a thing that could just work. And like, it's fascinating to me that they're not like, wow, maybe we made it too expensive because the price went up, and then the price went up, and then the price went up. And it doesn't seem like anybody likes that the price went up, and we're still not giving them anything new and interesting that they're all really excited about. It must be that everybody's sharing passwords is just the dumbest explanation to me. I mean,
I see, Jeff, you have thoughts.
Of course I have thoughts. Kelly, you're nailing it. And you're right. Netflix's problem, I don't think, is related specifically to password sharing, although I'm sure it plays a role in that. The real problem is their strategy that they have taken towards content, and getting a wide base of content on top of the library that they've had was good to keep new stuff coming in. The problem was they were setting the threshold for renewing shows too high. Mm-hmm. And if they didn't have a blockbuster hit with season 1, there was no season 2.
Right.
If they had a blockbuster hit with season 1,
that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But even if they had a blockbuster hit, it still wasn't a guarantee for season 2.
Right. One Day at a Time, for example, is a show that every single person that I know watched it and loved it and told Netflix, I know you can see my account. Look how many minutes I've watched it. Look how much I love it. Go look at my Twitter timeline and look at all the times I went on and on about it. And it got axed. Mm-hmm. And they didn't ever come out. They never come out and say season 3 had 25% of the viewers of season 1. So obviously people weren't excited about it anymore. That's why we got rid of it. They never any sort of transparency into anything like that. And we know they've got the stats. They know exactly how many minutes every single account watched every single thing on Netflix. And they're not, and they don't use any of that. They just come out and go, it must be passwords. All those people that weren't paying us any money still aren't. And somehow we lost money for that.
Well,
I know I'm not great at math, but I'm not that bad at math either.
There's also competition. The streaming wars have begun.
Absolutely.
There's so many different services. Hulu is doing very well. People share their passwords for Hulu all the time. I mean, come on. It isn't just Netflix. You got Disney Plus. You got HBO Max. I can just go on and on. All these different other services that are out there, and I probably subscribe to a fair amount of them because I like the content because of it. And luckily with Netflix and T-Mobile subscribers get a nice little perk that it pays a good chunk of the bill anyway. So it's not costing me a ton of money, but still Netflix needed to adapt to it. And here comes Apple TV Plus. I think this is really going to be their way of getting even further away. For $5 a month, they're able to handle that. And if they raise the price, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if that ever happens with Apple. But you definitely see some huge things going on with streaming services, and I'm excited to I'm excited to see where things go. And then I put a little link in the show notes here about CNN Plus has died after a month because no one was watching.
I forgot it even launched.
I know
Wait,
it did it launch. Yes, exactly. And it lasted less time than Quibi did. So, so Quibi was 6 months. So you got a service like CNN. Who I thought that was the craziest thing in the world. Who is in their right mind is going to want to pay for extra content from CNN? I mean, it just wasn't a smart thing. But yeah, now that Time Warner, the Warner Media is now sold and it's merged with Discovery. I think that things are even going to change even more. AT&T starts getting out of the market now, finally out of media, and I think things will continue. Do you have any other thoughts, Warren, before we wrap up?
Yeah. First, Kelly and Jeff, show me on this doll where Netflix hurt you. Just point to where they hurt you. Okay.
There.
Stranger Things season 4.
That was Mickey.
Just saying.
Netflix didn't invent, there were producers. Anyways, like Dave said, we have T-Mobile. We've gotten for free. I've subscribed to Netflix ever since they sent me the CDs in the mail. And
yeah, me too.
Like the beginning of that. They rarely, in all the years that they've been around, get bad press. And everybody made a lot of money during the pandemic who were in-home people, right? Netflix, for the movie industry and the food delivery, because that's what we were doing. We were sitting home watching Netflix and eating during the pandemic. Pandemic's starting to end. People are getting out more. People are watching less Netflix. Netflix is seeing that number drop and they're panicking and they're saying, hey, you know what? We're probably going back to around where we were before the pandemic. And, people get hungry and greedy and they're like, we can do this. Let's keep doing that. And, when it doesn't happen, you get these kind of news conferences. And of course, they're going to just say, hey, they're not going to come out and say, or we're doing bad because our content sucks. They're going to say we're doing bad because you guys are stealing from us, more or less, and that's what they're saying. Probably a combination of both. I have favorite shows. I couldn't tell you what service they're on because, like Dave, I'm subscribed to every single one. But if somebody told me a show, I would have to Google what service I have to tune to watch that show again. Netflix.
There are services for that.
I know. It's called Google. TV app. Yeah, Google. I open up Google. I say, Handmaid's Tales, and they're like, watch on Amazon. And I'm like, okay, Brenda, turn on Amazon. And the final thought is, I have no bad against Netflix. I think they pioneered the way to, without them, I think just like Apple with computers, without Netflix, we'd still be years behind in the streaming. There was a commercial way before Netflix on TV, and I forgot who or why it was, but a guy drives out to this hotel in the middle of nowhere, and he's watching the guy in the lobby is watching this old TV, and he's like, "What you watching?" And he says, "Anything I want at any time I want." And it's like, how is that possible? And now we're here. That I don't know. I'll find a link to that because that was really a cool commercial too. But now we're here, and again, Netflix is the reason why we're there. So, and all content, providers should do well. I mean, it's great. It's good for us, right? Yeah. If Netflix goes away tomorrow, Apple's not going to be $5 a month for too much longer because competition is what happens. So. The people who wish Google to go away or Facebook to go away, there's consequences. And, just be aware of what they are. Competition is good for us as consumers, always.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and wrap things up here. But before I wrap things up, I wanted to say thank you to everybody listening. 200 episodes, it's awesome. I want to hopefully get 200 more. I'm so grateful to everybody in the Apple community that I've become friends with over the years, have been part of this show. Have a lot of great guests over the last few years. And notably, Jeff and Kelly, you've been here all the time. I can't thank you enough for being regulars of guests here, and really appreciate it. And you, Warren, I appreciate you being the co-host here. You've been very, very supportive and very great to work with there, and we have a lot of fun with the show.
Thank you.
You can tell it's a special occasion because Warren showed up even though I was going to be on.
That's right. He's not here.
And we finally have proof that you two are separate people.
We are not the same person.
That's right.
Okay, so just for a moment. Yes, Warren.
I said if I would have read my email of who went to, maybe I would have changed. But it was a surprise. I got surprised that you were here, so that's great. So no, I'm happy to see you.
So now that we're at the end, David, I want to say thank you for building this show, for taking it seriously, for continuing to invite me back. I'm going to go ahead and say for continuing to invite Jeff back because it's always fun to listen to him too. And here's to you, because let me make sure I do that properly. There we go.
Revenants.
Yeah, Reverend Nat.
I got the water here too.
Here's to you, and because you really took this and ran with it, and all of the involvement that you have, and how important it is to you to be a good community member and contribute, makes it a lot easier for everyone else. And like I learn stuff from your show once in a while, or relearn stuff from your show sometimes. Oh, that's right, I forgot all about that. All of those moments, and I really appreciate that you do that, and I love your approach to everything, and so I'm always excited when you have me back on the show, and I love what you've done with the place. So I just wanted to say thank you, because I know how much time and effort you put into it and how important it is to you. And so I think it really shows, and I want to make sure everybody else knows that too.
Thank you, Kelly.
And now I'm going to pile on. And,
God, what have I done?
I know.
No, you're going to have to
this on yourself.
Sit there and take it. I know.
That's right. Mm-hmm. No, seriously, this is wonderful. What you have done, 200 episodes.
What have you done?
I know. My God, what have you done?
That too.
It's just fantastic, and you have found a way to make all of this information that people can't get other places but choose to come here. You found a way to make it approachable and friendly and fun. And every time you say, "Hey, Jeff, can you come back on?" To me, that's a treat, because this is genuinely fun, and it just feels so great to get to be a part of this. So thank you.
Thank you.
This is also it's your show too. It's, you're here more than I am, Jeff. Let's be honest.
And also Warren.
Yeah, Warren. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Let's go ahead and wrap up for this week. Thank you. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. Support the show. You can support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We'd really appreciate it. And as I announced earlier, you can now become a patron of our show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available. Please support the show. I'd appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, as you are notified when we are streaming live on our YouTube channel, which is at youtube.com/DaveG65. And you can also watch and listen to past shows. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics I will say will be posted on that, flipped into the magazine, so you can go back and review all those notes from the show notes. You also can subscribe to the show into your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts and Apple Podcasts and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65. And Jeff Gamet, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Where can people find you?
Thank you again. And seriously, so much fun every single time. Okay, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, JGamet on both, youtube.com/JGamet for my videos. And let's rattle off some podcasts. Tuesday evenings, Mac Voices Live. Thursday mornings, afternoons on The Big Show. Thursday evenings, here a lot now. And Friday mornings on the Mac Show, also on the Context Machine, because Brian Chaffin and I have teamed up, and we're doing our thing and having a lot of fun with it. There's other stuff too, and I'm sure I'm just forgetting it right now. Oh!
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I just finished recording an episode of crap. It's been a long day. I'm forgetting things. Let's talk
Bart
photo.
Bouchot's.
Bart Bouchot's show.
Yay!
Yes, and I think as we're recording, he's already published it, and we talk
Nice.
about Apple's macro photography contest.
There
And
you go.
had so much fun.
Go listen to that. And Kelly Guimont, thank you as always for being here. You're welcome anytime. Always love having you. Go ahead and tell everybody where they could find you.
Gosh, where can you find me? You can find me at theslice.tech, where I am still in the process of getting everything spun up and out the door, but it's working. You can find me on I Want My MCU TV, which is a podcast at the Incomparable, where we talk about the latest Marvel show streaming on Disney Plus. And holy cow, you guys, Moon Knight, you don't even know.
Yes.
Right? So you can find me over there. You can find me talking about other things over on The Incomparable as well, usually Star Wars. But recently we did an episode about the Daniel Craig era of James Bond, and I got to be the Bond girl on that episode, so you can go check that out. You can find me on aftershowpodcast.com, where Mike Rose and I continue to record some fashion of the show we used to do at the Unofficial Apple weblog. And gosh, I know I'm forgetting stuff too, but you can also find me on Twitter as Verso.
Great. And Warren Sklar, as always, thank you for your support and being here. Where can people find you?
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Kelly. Dave, thanks again for letting me do this. It's fun. It's something to do.
Yeah.
You guys are. I'm definitely the oddball. You guys are the real podcasters, and I'm not. So that's fun. I'm just here because I like talking about computer stuff and arguing with Kelly. So that's
Warren, here's the insider secret.
yes.
What you described, that's just what professional podcasting is.
Yep.
Showing up and talking with people and arguing with Kelly.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
That's number one. Yeah.
But I.
Number one, stop using your iPhone headphones. Number two, come tell me I'm wrong. And number three, profit.
Should I?
I need to work on the telling you you're wrong, because I keep saying, "Oh, Kelly, you nailed it."
I mean, that works too.
Dave, should I have been getting paid for these past few years?
Oh, that's the other
I'm
thing
a
about being a
professional.
professional
Yeah.
podcaster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's the kindness of your heart.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's fun. I enjoy it. So there you go. Thanks.
All right.
Yep.
And one last thing I'll mention in the chat room on youtube.com/DaveG65, Craig in the chat said, so true, thanks to us here at the show, and really appreciate you listening, Craig. I wanted to give you a shout out as well here. So, but I wanted to thank everybody for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. I enjoyed doing it, and everybody else did here as well. So until next time, I will see you again soon.